guys, RanterInShades are exercising my First Amendment rights and No Shave November rights vlog style. Apologies for my inactivity this past month. I've been dealing with a good deal of depression that I am not going to elaborate on right now because that's not the point of this video. I may talk about that sometime before the end of the year, maybe, but for now we got some shit to discuss. Now, I didn't bother making a video about this individual when the topic was new and fresh 3 years ago, mainly because other people, including Official GATG, Skull Ripper 4900, Some Guy 827, and Cover Killer Nation were covering the story. And for me, when enough people are talking about something on YouTube, I tend to think it's not exactly worth it for me to discuss, since my opinion's not going to be much different. But now that there's some new information out, and I have some points I think are going to be unique to the discussion, let's talk about this lovely individual known only as Ian Watkins. I'm sure we all know who Ian Watkins is, or at least I hope you do if you're watching this video. For those of you who have been living under a rock, Ian Watkins was the vocalist of a hard rock band called Lost Prophets that was somewhat popular in the early to mid-2000s. I personally have never really cared for Lost Prophets, since the few times I've tried to listen to them in the past, they just never did much for me. They're one of those meh bands. Well, about this time in 2013, Ian was convicted and sentenced to 35 years jail time, which in my opinion should have been a life sentence for, and I'm not kidding here, raping a 1-year-old. Yep, I'm sure you can understand why I think he deserved a life sentence. There's one thing about this that I want to convey. We just got out of a shit show election a couple weeks ago and Donald Trump won. Although I was never on the anti-Trump train and thought that most of people's problems with Trump were either over-exaggerations or just strawmanning his positions, I wasn't a supporter of his. I didn't vote for him, and a vast majority of my liberal friends really did not like him. And I'm sure the same can be said for a number of people in my audience. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that no matter how evil and deplorable you find someone to be, whether it's Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton or whoever else, I don't think you can sink any lower than being a baby rapist. And I think this is something we can all agree on. Even people I strongly dislike, I don't think are as big of scumbags as a baby rapist. You can think someone's a piece of shit, but are they on the same level as a baby rapist? No! One of the earliest videos I made on this channel was about the subject of mocking a musician's death. In my opinion, it's one of the few old videos I find to be at all watchable of mine. One of the points I made in that video was that no one deserves to die unless they commit a crime against humanity. Now, what I was referring to when I used that terminology was people that are either serial killers or people committing genocide, serial rapists, and pedophiles/child rapists. Those are the three main groups of people that I think truly deserve to die. Whenever people have asked me what I thought of the death penalty, those are the main groups of people that I think deserve the death penalty, especially if they're serial killers or serial rapists.
I'm super serial.
I'm using the word serial a lot, and it makes me think of the album Serial Killer Soundtrack by Green Jelly. Check that out. Ian Watkins is someone who I think should have gotten the death penalty, if not a life sentence. Because like I said, I don't think you can do much worse than rape a baby. But that's not the reason I'm making this video. My friend Some Guy 827 shared an article saying that Ian Watkins is back on Twitter and is apparently teasing new music. Let's sink in. A baby rapist is allowed on Twitter and is wanting to make new music. And yet Milo Yiannopoulos, someone who I'm not a follower of, by the way, gets banned from Twitter for making fun of Leslie Jones, and yet a convicted baby rapist is allowed to use the internet? What the fuck is up with these standards? And as far as him making new music, prison albums are nothing new. A couple albums that come to mind that were released during a prison sentence are Slick Rick's album Behind Bars and Tupac's album Me Against the World. You want to record music from prison? Go right the fuck ahead. But who does Ian Watkins think is going to support him? Does he even have an audience? I have no idea. I've never bothered checking. I'd love to know if there's anybody out there that defends him. That would be hilarious to see. Like, I guess it's fine if you like Lost Prophets music, but are people really gonna defend a baby rapist? I made a video about 2 years ago called Should a Musician's Personality or Views Affect Your Opinion on Their Music? And one person actually left a comment at the time asking if the message of the video would apply to Lost Prophets. It slipped my mind to even mention them in the video since, like I said, I've never cared for Lost Prophets to begin with, as well as the fact that the topic of Ian Watkins had sort of died down by that time. But there's one big difference between Ian Watkins and the people I mentioned in that video, and that would be that, unlike Ian, none of them are criminals. As much as I can't stand Kanye West, he isn't a scumbag on the level of baby rapist Watkins, and hasn't done anything that would put him at that level. Neither is Gene Simmons, neither is Ted Nugent, or anyone else I brought up in that video, especially not Jesus. So with that in mind, I'd love to know who is actually excited to hear new music from this shithead. I'd love to know who would actually stick up for him as well. Like I said, it's fine if you like Lost Prophets music, but me, I don't think I could listen to his music without thinking, dude, this guy that's singing right now is a fucking baby rapist. So I just want to avoid his music. But to Ian Watkins, all I can really say is good fucking luck. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.